And I'm your host, Dana Miliori. How are you today? I hope your energy is serving you well. Today, I want to talk about the power of meaning, because everything in your life right now is depicted through the meaning that you give to it. So let's take a moment right now. Let's settle our energy. Take a moment to just analyze your body, where you're tense, where you're stressed, and take a moment to send a white light energy there and relax that portion of your being, that portion of your body. And take a few deep breaths here with me. In through your nose, and exhale through your mouth. One more. Thank you. So truly think about that. Because what I want to wrap around your mind today, and that I've been wrapping around my mind and actually been practicing this for quite some time, is revising my past, which recreates my now and manifests future moments for me to come. So what I mean by revising your past, there's a meaning that you give to something that has happened in your past. And this meaning holds so much power to how you perceive your self-concept about who you are and what's achievable, and what's capable, and what's possible for you. Think about your past, what meaning you give to it. And is that meaning giving you power in your now, or is it de-emphasizing and depowering you in your now moment? Because in my example, for me, my past and the meaning I used to give to that past depowered me tremendously. It pretty much demobilized me and sometimes even physically paralyzed me by reliving that meaning through my current now. And so a lot of the times you will hear, reliving your past into the now. Joe Dispenza will talk about the past and how we allow our past to create a reality now. And that's very similar to what I'm talking about here. Because there is a meaning, there is an energy, there is a frequency of this past, of this meaning that you give it, whether it was something, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or yesterday. You are giving meaning to that. All transformation, I'll tell you one thing, in the last 15 years of me really going in depth with self-transformation, is reframing what you give meaning to. Because how you identify something and the meaning you give to it, and how I identify something and give the meaning to it, can be completely different. And this will play out differently for us. So begin to analyze your meaning to things. And is that meaning serving you? Now, I know things have happened, and I know it felt out of your control, and it was not your fault to what happened in the past. But the meaning you define it and how it relates to you is your choice, is a choice. And it can be reframed, it can be recreated, which will recreate your now and future to come. So very powerful exercise that you can do is, calm your body, calm your mind, and think of a memory that you want to recreate. Think of a memory that you want to revise. If you're not sure what, you can ask your spirit guides and angels to alert you of a memory that you want to recreate. Now, it doesn't always have to be something in the past. You can just create a memory that will shift a meaning for you. Okay? But it is very powerful when you have something from your past and the meaning that you give to it is tying you down, is tying your frequency down, is tying your energy down. I talk about this a lot as being your story. But when I mention it as a story, it's a very conscious awareness of a story. And what I mean by giving meaning to things in your past is very subconscious. You might not even be aware that you are doing it. And a very powerful one for me was, somebody very close to me, dear in my life, talked to me a specific way growing up as a child. And it put that meaning that I had with that relationship and how I was treated in that relationship, I didn't really know I gave a meaning to it. And it carried with me. And even though I've healed from my past traumas and I've forgiven situations to heal and recreate my now reality, I still gave meaning to that past memory. Okay? And so what's so powerful about this is that I can recreate that meaning. Or I can re-envision my past and being treated differently to emphasize the emotion and the frequency of the new meaning that I am going to now adopt into my self-concept as a human being. Okay, because we are all divinely spiritual beings temporarily living out a human experience. And so a lot of the times the things that happen to us, we feel very victimized, like somebody was doing something horrible to us, not realizing that person themselves is a divine spiritual being. And what they are doing in that moment that they are doing that is coming from an unconscious ego of what may have happened to them in the past and past generation. Okay, so when I started having that concept of peeling the layers that deep, because this was a huge thing for me, was forgiveness. Forgiveness was a huge step in my evolution to my light, to using the shadows and using the dark night of the soul and using the times that felt disabling, that felt like there was no hope, has now propelled my light, has propelled my evolution even stronger. Okay? And that stepping stone was forgiveness. And when I say forgiveness, I mean forgiveness for you and the way that you are identifying meaning around it to how you show up in the world. Because forgiveness is not for the other person and to absolve them of their actions. It is to release the resistance within you. And see, that resistance that is held within you blocks abundance, blocks opportunity, blocks the true beauty and essence of what this world and this universe can provide to you. And why you came here to expand and create. It literally puts a halt on that. And that's why it feels so horrible. So when you learn to release this through forgiveness, your true authentic oneness can start evolving and being revealed to you. And it is very empowering. So think about it. What is it in your life right now that you give tremendous meaning to that is not serving you? Chances are it is a past memory. It could be something very recent that has happened to you. But no, the meaning that you're choosing to give it is a choice. Learn to use your imagination. Learn to tap into your inner creational world, the inner senses you have. that when you close your eyes, you can see. And that when you're not using your ears to hear, you can still hear voices or sounds within. That is your senses within. These are what we want to use to revise past memories, to revise and create new memories that as if it has already happened type energy. Because we have all heard we have to act as it already is, right? Especially before you go to sleep, that doorway to your subconscious mind, as in feeling the relief of it already being done, as you already have the solution you seek. That is just learning to bask in that emotion and that feeling before you slumber can have traumatic differences and synchronicities and manifestations happen in your life. So tonight, before you go to bed, practice going inward and seeing how you can use your inner senses to feel this. Because how I use my imagination can be completely different from you. So there is no pressure to have it exactly right. We all have different levels of how we use our inner senses, our inner world, and our imagination through our mind's eye. But just begin. And don't be hard on yourself. And see what you can do. If you have to relive a moment to emphasize the feeling, that is very powerful. Or you can recreate something. Or you can go to your past memory and change the scenario of how you view it. You can go there as your self now, as your higher self, viewing your inner child, viewing the scenario as you were, the age you were, the time it was, and give yourself grace to not adapt that meaning that you carried forward with you after that event that happened. Whether it, and whether you felt rejected, whether you felt unworthy, whether you felt incomplete. The emotions that we are tying and giving meaning to events that have happened are really shaping the identity of who you believe you are, what you believe is possible for you. And so if I just tell you, oh, believe you have a lot of money, believe you'll be successful, and your self-concept and your perception and your belief is very much opposite to that in your inner world, it's not going to do much for you. It's going to feel really annoying to try to think positively or to try to recreate a belief if you're not really doing the inner work, which is recreating a meaning, recreating a feeling. Now, when we do that, it is a lot easier to take on new beliefs that we know the future self that has done something we want to do. So say if you want to speak in front of, thousands of people, and right now the way you give meaning to that makes it seem unknown, scary, you don't want to fail. There's a lot of meaning we give to the scenario that has not even happened. So if we use a revision technique, if we go back and not into a past memory, but we go into a memory and create a memory of us speaking in front of thousands of people and how it felt and how you acted, what was your beliefs as this individual, watching how the crowd reacted to you. What do you see? What do you hear? What are you feeling? Doing this is a form of neuroplasticity in the mind, because you are literally rewiring, because our mind doesn't know the difference between an actual memory that has happened or something we are imagining. So why not use that to our advantage? It can seem weird to think, okay, I'm just going to think I've already done it and let's see how that's going to help me. That might make me feel more separated to it actually actualizing because I'm just being delusional and thinking it already happened. I mean, that's a very counterproductive energy. And I would really focus on why that practice is so powerful. Because you are overriding an emotion, you are overriding an energy, you are creating a new frequency. That's why it's powerful. You are not delusional. You are using a technique to shift your energy. The past is not solid. The past is not set in stone. Everything in life is fluctual. It is fluid. I wouldn't be here doing this exact thing right now if I didn't choose to use these type of techniques where I recreated my meaning to what has happened in the past. And that's what I really mean by creating my new story, which I talk a lot about in my free Ascension workbook. If you have not grabbed that workbook, do so now. There is links below this episode and this video that you are watching that you can use to grab it. Very powerful, life-changing information in the Ascension workbook. There's passive meditations, active meditations, there's visualization techniques you can use. There is plenty of things to help you connect with your higher self and begin doing the inner work that's necessary to recreate that inner world for you, which as a natural byproduct of that, your life will now be different. You will perceive your life different. Different things will happen. You can begin attracting the experiences and the emotional feelings you want to feel out of life to you by going inward first and not thinking you need to control the outside circumstances from you in order to create that, which you may have some success doing that, but it's not going to last. It's going to be tiring, or it might not even work at all for you. And very discouraging. But going inward and doing that, what is that hurting? You're not spending money doing that. It's free to go within and create. So I highly encourage you, from now until the next time you watch an episode from me, or every single night for the next 30 days, and bask in trying to go inward in your inner creative world to feel the relief of what you want. Embody that, envision that, feel that, feel thankfulness for that. And if you're even more eager, you can try getting yourself into a meditative state, thinking about something that you really have meaning to that is not serving you, and to revise that memory, to revise the meaning of that. Just simply revising the way my brother used to speak to me as growing up has changed my self-concept of who I am, because that really stuck with me. He was my best friend. We did everything together, and I may have not been up to the skill level at playing certain games with him or doing certain things, so I was always the, oh, you suck kind of thing. So it was always like I was never good enough. I was never good enough, never good enough, never good enough. Even though I had fun, I loved being with him, the self-underlying concept of the meaning of me spending time there was that I sucked and I never was good enough. So by me going back into that memory and revisiting that, and imagine me not feeling that. Imagine the interaction with us, me feeling confident, me feeling like I am good enough to do anything I want. I've already felt the shift within me just by explaining that to you. Okay. And picturing the result of me as a kid being like, instead of like literally later being, like I'm always striving to be good enough for you. And I'm not. So that's the meaning I gave to these times that we would play together. His intention was never to put that on me, but that's the meaning I gave to it. And that meaning stuck with me for years. So it's very powerful to shift your meaning. So begin to analyze what meanings that you have that are holding you back and giving you that fear of the unknown, and change the meaning of them and feel that in your body. Like always, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you, and I will see you next week.
Did you like this episode? If so, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Are you an expert at creating your own reality? Do you have a story to tell that drastically changed your life? If so, message me at Dream Creation Podcast on Instagram, and don't forget to leave a review.